We have an incredibly special guest with us today, Lady Akoma Onyemelukwe. Akama is a prime development leader, a non-profit strategist, and coach. She's a public speaker who has accelerated impact and leadership 20 years of managing large and complex international development programs and consulting opportunities. She is an expert in organizational systems, leadership, policy, strategy, and advocacy, new business development, program management, gender, and social inclusion. A sector leader with sectorial experience in health, education, governance, humanitarian emergencies, and the media, Akoma is an award winner of 100 Top Global Women in Leadership Award 2022, 50 Top African Women in Development, an author. Akoma is a member of the prestigious John Maxwell leadership team that builds leaders globally, a member of Rotary International, an associate member of WINBIS, and a board member on the Rotarians Against Malaria Action Group Global, RAM Global, an alumnus of University of Lagos, Nigeria, and University of Liverpool. She's also an alumnus of Harvard University School of Public Health, Boston, founder of Right Proposals, a funding support organization working with a range of stakeholders to accelerate access to funding. She helps make impactful investment and build sustainable organizations. She also leads Affinity Consulting, providing cutting-edge consultancy and advisory services within development, humanitarian, and management spaces across sectors and consults for leading organizations. And that is just one person, Lady Akoma Onyemelukwe. Akoma Lady, so good to have you on the show, all the way from the FCT. So we really don't have much time as usual, so we'll dive straight into our questions. Now, I'd like you to just quickly share with us what inspired you really to start working in the fight against malaria.
Malaria is one disease area that affects everyone, affects the family, the community, and also the society. So I actually dived into malaria when I started working for an international development organization. First, we started working in health and working in a disease area like HIV. And we found the impact it has across board on children, on women, women that are pregnant, and issues around maternal and child health and maternal and child mortality, and the fact that malaria is preventable. So why don't we deal with it? The economic consequences of it, they're also the public health concern, a major concern it is, and the fact that it is preventable, and the fact that you can find malaria affecting many other health areas and health conditions. So women who are pregnant, you find malaria issues in it, for children, for families. So it affects everyone. So it's an important area. Thank you very much.
Well, I would argue that we've lived with malaria virtually all our lives. So why is this still such a big problem in many parts of the world? And really, how does it affect families? Could you tell us a bit about that?
So it's a major problem in many parts of the world. It's a major problem in Nigeria. Nigeria actually is leading the global burden, and Nigeria contributes about 27% to that global burden. And for families, wow, when a child has malaria, what happens is that the parents, everyone in the house actually is disturbed. Parents will not go to work, then the child will actually be absent from school. So you have absenteeism from school. Then you also would have the fact that every other person can also get it. That's what it means. And it rates economic capacity of the family, because on those days they won't go to work, and if there are people who earn daily, it means they've lost that income of that day, as well as catastrophic expenditures that they find in facilities, because they have to do the test, buy the medication, nurse whoever is ill, and if it is the father or mother that is ill, ooh la la, that becomes another issue. So you find out that they are ill and they may not be able to take care of the family at that time. So it has a lot of impact on the family, and the impact is really gross impact, economic impact, social impact, care, the impact of care, and also the potential that they can lose a child or lose someone because of malaria. So it can also lead to death, and that is a very great impact that you can see there. Thank you.
Absolutely. And as a matter of fact, it's a fight that we cannot afford to leave to government alone. So partnership will come to play here. So what's the impact of partnership in combating malaria? And could you just like possibly give us an example of a successful partnership? I know you've been into many that you've been involved in.
Yeah. Okay, so partnership is very critical. Actually, you can't do this alone. The government can't do it alone. And partnership, over the years actually has helped us gain some grounds, make some successes, and make some impact happen in Nigeria and globally. So partnership promotes us increasing resources. So the resource mobilization effort is increased because one, government funding has not been as it should be. So you're increasing resources, people are bringing in their resources, private sector, government, international development agencies, and it promotes research as well. So partnership helps us deal with the issues of research, with scientists, with academicians, with also advocates who are working on the field. And then you also have partnership that help with capacity building. Not everybody knows what to do or what should be happening. So you're building capacity across board, at community level, at health facility level. You're building capacity of leadership in different sectors, and these are all things you have to do together. And also even in programs, in advocacy, in integration of programs. So you'll have a sanitation program, you can integrate malaria into it. This is where partnership works. And even in policy and also community engagement. I have been involved in series of partnerships. So you have the partnership with the Global Fund supporting a country, Nigeria. You have the partnership. The current one that is on is the Presidential Malaria Initiative, which the USAID is funding. And you have it coming in, helping with distribution of nets, helping with vector control, helping with sanitation works, helping with capacity building, helping with strengthening health systems and building support within the health facilities. And these are elements that are important in this fight against malaria. Families need to understand what they need to do.
Absolutely.
They need to do what they need to do at the community level, and also, everyone doing their bit built up that significant outcome and success that we have against malaria.
Absolutely. And I see that you've done quite a lot under the Rotary umbrella. We know that Rotary says that we are people of action, but we'll come to that later. Now, talking about, let's bring it home a bit. How can ordinary people and families, contribute to the fight against malaria in their communities? Yes, you've touched on it, but could you give us a little more detail on what exactly we expect them to do?
Okay, ordinary people are people like I and you, and people in the community, people who live everyday lives, individuals and family members, both father, mother, and children. So what can you do really to contribute to this? One is to ensure that in your location there's no stagnant water, first of all, so that you have clean environment, waste is managed properly, and that you have the right awareness and the right knowledge that is required for this. So you're spreading and you're teaching the right knowledge, not just what's not correct. Then that you use the insecticide treated nets, the bed nets that are available to you. You also have early treatment and the right diagnosis. So once you have a symptom, you go to the hospital, you get tested, and then you also get treated. And then you don't go to treat yourself without getting tested. That's wrong. So you have to be tested, found to have malaria before you're treated. These are ways that you can help. And also, if you're a health worker or you work in the health space, another way is to support in the primary healthcare system to ensure that people who come in to receive service receive the right service and are attended in the right way and are treated well in such a way that they can live a good life over the period. I think this will help.
Yeah, certainly that will help. And I mean, what I'm thinking about now is that you can't even rely on that alone. We need to give a little pressure by way of advocacy. So you've worked with many organizations and governments. Could you just tell us how policy advocacy helps in reducing malaria cases?
Wow, policy advocacy is very critical. I think it has helped, in the fight against malaria over the years extensively. So one will be in legislation and regulation. Okay, so we need policy advocacy to ensure that we have the right legislation, the right regulation. Okay, so things like treatment, medications, test kits. So all the regulation around it, whether it's the production, the manufacturing, whatever it is related to such things. So advocacy has also helped in increasing funding, okay, pointing the searchlight to where need is, where you have high burden, where you have a lot of people living and you have a lot of, endemic malaria situation. Okay, advocacy has led to focus in those areas. Then you also have value in those locations, and this is important. Thank you very much.
Okay, we actually
missed, going on.
we missed a chunk of what you were saying there, but I mean the point has been made. Advocacy cannot be taken for granted. That's the pressure we need to put us all on our toes. Now, quickly, it hasn't been rosy, I'm sure. Yes, I agree that you're looking very well and healthy. But there must have been huge challenges for you as well that you faced in this work, in this assignment. How have you overcome them? Now, could you just quickly share a success story, for instance, from your work that had significant impact on a community or possibly any country?
Okay, so working in malaria for me, one significant effort that I know that I really worked was when we had this program that UK Aid was funding, and the summer program, and the impact that program had across, at that time I was working in Lagos. So, and the impact that program had, yes, it was across the country, but in Lagos specifically, it provided a lot of support, good for government systems. So we found that they supported, policy, strategic planning for government. They also supported a lot of work at community level, distributing nets, and also treating people, doing the diagnosis related to malaria, and also providing malaria medication, ACTs, for children and women. And one of the things that helped to do was that reduced the case of malaria. And they did a bit of residual spraying in some locations as well. And for me, that at that time, you found out that the awareness of malaria went up, and also the right testing, also knowledge was passed in the communities and also at health facilities. And you found out that many people, families, mothers and fathers, actually found out why it's important to first go to the facility, get tested before getting treated. And that helped. We also had a lot of women who were pregnant, because within the pregnancy clinics, you have like the maternal health clinics, you have malaria mainstreamed into it. And so you have a lot of women who are pregnant actually having malaria in pregnancy treatment and interventions to ensure that they don't have malaria while they are pregnant. For me, it was a partnership that worked because you had a lot of players, community, government, international partners, all of us working together, and there was a lot of success after the 5 years of that
Impressive.
project.
I must say that's very impressive. It leaves me green with envy. I hope that one of these days we'll be able to find space, some space, in what you're doing to put in a little bit. Now, young people are most vulnerable when it comes to malaria attacks. What advice would you give them if they want to pursue a career in global health or non-profit work, for instance, at least to put in their little bit into the fight against malaria?
Okay, so my first advice to them is they should find a mentor. Really, they should also, at this time, read up. There are a lot of literature that could help support them because knowledge is power, but application is actually stronger. So, in doing that, when they find a mentor, because in the space there are a lot of good people, there are a lot of very advanced people, and there are a lot of mentoring programs in the nonprofit sector that are there to really provide the skills. So skills in advocacy, skills in program management, skills in policy and strategy, whatever skills you want is available. So when you join some of those mentoring programs, you will learn, and also they will also help you to see what opportunities are there. Then in your local environment, the first thing you need to do is to ensure that every stagnant water you see, you just take it away. No bottles, no, and then you become that advocate for excellent waste management. Everywhere is clean, first of all, and you, through the education you've gotten, spread it and let others know what causes malaria and how they can prevent malaria in their own space. I'm sure that with some of these few things, definitely you will make your way into non-profit and you will actually excel.
I'm convinced. You've won me over, Akama. Believe it or
Yeah.
not, the malaria scourge would be best described as being on its way out. Well, a few weeks ago, I think a couple of weeks ago, we had a medical practitioner on this show who actually said that the incidence of malaria, especially in Lagos, maybe Lagos Island, has gone down, and that's great news for us. So, Akama, thanks so much for the great work you've been doing. We want to thank you so much for coming on the show today. And we hope that next time we'll have more than 20-25 minutes to be with you. Thanks so much for coming,
Absolutely.
Akoma.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Thank
God
Bye.
bless. Yeah.
Okay,
So
ciao.
this is Today with John and Helen, and we're coming to you live from Plus TV Africa, DSTV 408 and StarTimes 308. Next on the program is our Culture Conversation segment. Chizobam Ofegbu, our anchor, hinted me before the show that her guest today is a bundle of knowledge in hospitality and a huge asset to those of us who are seeking to reap huge harvests in hospitality. Let's join Chizobam now as she takes on her guest, Initeme Eromosele, on the untapped potential of the hospitality industry to improve our GDP. So over to you now, Chizobam.